If you can't calculate ARV accurately, you will never close a wholesale deal. I'm serious. ARV is the foundation of every offer that you make, and if you get it wrong, buyers will walk away and they will look at you like an amateur. And today, I'm gonna show you my stupidly simple method for calculating an after repair value that has helped me close over 7 figures in wholesale deals. This is the same process that I use whether I'm sitting in my car outside of a property or analyzing a deal virtually from my couch or my chair. And don't worry, you don't need to be good at math. I barely passed algebra and I can do this in under 10 minutes. What is ARV and why do wholesalers care? Your ARV is your after repair value. What a house is worth after it is completely fixed up. And just to be clear, this is not what the seller's house is worth right now. That would be a disaster. It's what an investor can sell it for after putting in a new kitchen, finishing the basement, a new roof, new bathrooms, etc. Without accurate ARV, you can't calculate an offer price. Without an accurate offer price, you can't leave room for an investor profit. And without investor profit, nobody's buying your contracts. Your entire offer formula starts with ARV and works backwards. Here's why most wholesalers get ARV completely wrong. They use Zillow's Zestimate and they call it a day. Terrible idea. They look at active listings instead of sold properties. They use comps from 2 years ago thinking that the market hasn't changed. They pick the highest comp that they can find to make their deal look better. Here's what happens when you inflate your ARV. You tell an investor that the ARV is $200,000. They do their own research and see it's 170. Now they're not picking up the phone and you just burned a buyer relationship because you were lazy. Let me show you exactly how I do this on a real property. So the property that I'm going to use as an example is going to be a property that is currently listed on the market within one of these areas in Chicago. And we're going to try to see if the seller has their property listed at a good price or a bad price. So let's go ahead to Zillow. We're on the south side of Chicago and let's just try to find one of these rougher looking houses and see if this realtor has it listed at a good price or not. So a lot of the properties that we're dealing with are these boarded up homes that are in rough conditions. So let's try to find one of those properties. No, fine. For this example, let's get in the roughs. How about? Let's look at something that is in rough shape. How about? As this one. So as you can tell, this is in need of a heavy rehab. Looking at the pictures, it probably needs just about everything done to it. And saying probably needs is a little bit of an understatement. So we're going to use this property as the example to see if this realtor has listed this property at a good price or a bad price. So let's first identify the exact pocket that this property is in. So looking here, it looks like it's between Marquette, 71st, Racine, and Ashland. Another thing to keep in mind that this is a framed house. This isn't a brick house like this one. This is framed, so I need to keep that in mind. Reason being, you can't be comparing apples to oranges. Different things have different values. So this is the pocket that we were looking at. This is where the subject property is. Let's look at sold. Let's create that boundary so we're only looking in this pocket because you don't want to go crossing main roads, crossing train tracks or rivers or anything like that. You want to be very, very precise when you're trying to find your after repair value. And just to double check, sometimes you can go back 12 months. I don't recommend going any further back than 12 months. So let's go ahead and click that. We're only looking at houses and we're good here. So let's go through. Let's try to see if we can find the after repair value for this property. So I'm going to just go ahead and sort it from high to low and begin my search from here. So already off the rip, I see this one here. It's a framed house. It's got 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. And don't be too picky with the square footage. A lot of the reasons why these other properties have a smaller square footage is because they might not be counting the basement because it's not finished out. They might not be counting the upstairs because it's not finished out. So they're only counting livable space. And just for comparison, let's compare the two properties really quick. So as you can see this is a pretty semi-standard lot. It's a little bit bigger than your standard lot, but you can tell that it is a little bit smaller of a home just from the front facing view. Now looking back at our subject property, as you can see, it's kind of got that same width and probably that same length as well if I were to go from an aerial view. Bedroom count checks out, and the bathroom count, you can always add more bathrooms in the basement or on another floor. So granted, there aren't many pictures of this property. However, if you were to go down to the description here, you can see fully renovated, from top to bottom. So this has been a completely full gut property, similar to the one that we were just looking at. Now, if you want to save yourself some time and not have to find ARV, what you can always do is go to the price history and see what this investor paid for this full gut property. So looking here, you can see that this investor paid $87,000 back in 2024, just about a year ago. So far, $75,000 seems like a pretty decent price. But we don't stop there. Let's keep looking. Again, this is the highest ARV that we have found. That is a no-no. Here's another one. This one sold at $280. And looking at the pictures, I mean, just from experience, I could tell that they've done a lot. The exterior looks pretty dang new. It looks like they might have even done some new concrete on this side at least. And then yeah, everything on the inside is looking brand spanking new. New bathrooms, new kitchen, new flooring. They might have saved the hardwood over there. The upstairs is finished out. The basement is finished. So yeah, they did a really nice job on this one. So this one sold for $280. However, it looks like this investor back in 2024 only paid $55,000. So he got this at a pretty good price. Let's keep looking. Now, I know some of you guys might be thinking, oh, Cam, why not check out this one? Reason being is because this one is a little bit taller than our subject property. You can tell that there's a lot more space on that second floor than on ours, as you can see right here. So here's another one. This one looks pretty decent. Again, another one that looks like it was given a complete rehab. I can look at the description and confirm beautifully rehabbed property. Brand new kitchen, brand new flooring, new carpet, full finished basement, electrical, heating, plumbing, everything in this property is brand new. This is a good property to be considered a comp. And again, this one sold for $260,000, $259 to be exact. And this investor, this person owned it for a while. They might have not gotten it exactly, but this says 2007. So I wouldn't even look at this $30,000 price tag. And let's keep going. Let's see what this one's looking like. Not very updated. How about this one? A little bit too small for our liking. However, what did this investor pay? So he bought it for $33,000 in 2022. So I think we found ourselves some solid picks. We've got this one right here that sold at $310. We've got this one right here that sold at $280. And we have this one right here that sold for $259. And that right there is what I would consider the 3 comp rule. Never use just 1 comp. Always find at least 3. In some scenarios, you might have to settle for 1 or 2. But as long as you always listen to everything I say in all of my YouTube videos, you'd know that you need to go for a high populated area. So finding 3 comps should not be an issue as long as you listen to everything that I say in my videos. So you're probably asking right now, do I pick the one that sold for $310? Do I pick the one that sold for $280 or the one at $259? And the truth is, I would go for the average of it. If not, I would go for the lowest ARV value. And I know what you're thinking, Cam, but I want to give myself the highest probability of getting this property under contract. The seller wants more money. I get you. I hear what you're saying. However, the number one reason why most beginners don't close out a deal is because they offer way too much. So I want to set the stage for you right when you're getting started so you don't make that same mistake. Now, again, this is a video on finding the after repair value, not knowing what the estimate repairs are or how to come up with that max allowable offer. I will do that in the next video, so be sure to like and subscribe. However, I still want to tell you whether or not that this person listed at a good price or a bad price. So real quick, I'm going to do my quick calculations really fast. Minus this. Drum roll, please. To be quite honest, this realtor listed this at a pretty competitive price. I think this is priced to sell. And just looking at Zillow here, it's got 5 saves, 256 views, and it's been listed for about 12 days. So what I would have offered the seller was something around the $60,000 price mark to give myself around that $10,000 to maybe $5,000 fee. Now in my wholesale business, I'm aiming for minimum $20,000 to $25,000 fees. So in reality, I probably would have only offered around like $45,000 to $50,000. And the reason why my baseline is that $20,000 to $25,000 fee is because I have commissions to pay out to my sales team. We use over a dozen softwares every single day and these add up. So when you're just starting out, don't go for these crazy, insane fees. Start out small with like $5,000 or $10,000. Look, calculating ARV is not rocket science, but getting it wrong can kill your wholesale business faster than anything else. The process that I just showed you, staying within the pocket of that property, pulling the renovated comps from the last 6 to 12 months is exactly how I analyze every single wholesale deal. If you want to see me analyze real deals and calculate offers on these ARVs, I have a 3-hour free course on my channel that breaks down down everything. Definitely go watch that next. And if you're ready to get serious about wholesaling with actual coaching and support, check out the inner circle in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.